at this conference, of course, to discuss security and normal.
Hi guys, so it's gonna be another late late night with you, or I'm gonna give you my thought on a very specific subject, and it's gonna be yes, it's gonna be on this speech that Mr. Vance gave in Munich, I think, this week. And for me, it's a very immature, a very childish speech. And then, so from the outcome of the speech, like what people are saying about the speech, so you're gonna see it's not only a very controversial speech, but it is an immature speech. It is a very childish speech. I've to slow it down a little bit because my English is not that perfect, and English is my third language. So I'm gonna do more uh, live only in English, so I can improve my speaking and other stuff. So because it's gonna be very different, because I always do my live on Creole, in Creole, or in French. So I'm gonna start doing more live only in English for my English spoken people. All right, so we let's go down to the subject. It's Mr. Vance for his first trip, and then he went to Munich. Very high profile meeting. It's the Munich security a console. So as we know, there's a lot that is going on around the world, especially in Europe, Ukraine, and Russia. All right, so you were there, and as we know, many countries in Europe, or the majority countries in Europe, they're not happy with the result of the US election. JD Vance went down there to talk bad because a lot of Europeans, so they love Obama, they love Biden, they feel more comfortable around Democrats instead of the Republican. And we all know this guy and his team is not very popular in Europe. And this goon, eh, Elon Musk, he made a Hitler salute. So people in Germany, so they were livid. They were like so mad. I'm telling you, they was not happy with this guy making a Hitler salute, and then people was like so mad. All right, so he went there, and in the same time, Pete Hegseth, another immature guy, a guy who don't know no crap about security, military, and this is those two guys. They just saying this is a very immature government, and from the reaction of the people back there and in America and everywhere in the world. So it just like my God. Anyway, so I'm gonna let you hear, well, I'm gonna let you hear his speech. It's because he's a public figure. That means he got paid from my tax. Okay. And then he's a public figure, so I'm gonna play his, that's what everybody is doing. So I'm gonna play his speech, and then I'm gonna pause it a little bit so to give you my perspective, my thought, my analysis on what he said and the reaction of the people that were live in the audience. All right, let's go.
We mean threats to our external security. I see many great military leaders gathered here today. But while the Trump administration is very concerned with European security and believes that we can come to a reasonable settlement between Russia and Ukraine, and we also believe that it's important in the coming years for Europe to step up in a big way to provide for its own defense, the threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within.
All right, so you remember Trump said he was worried about enemies inside of the country, enemies which are his political opponent, people that are very critical about what he's doing. So this guy Vance, he went there and then he said the same thing about internal political situation in Europe. And that was his first mistake. Just like a lot of people are upset when we talk about American politics, and then he went there, he talked about European politics. That's the first mistake.
The retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values, values shared with the United States of America.
What are those values? Those values are rightness. That's mean white European Catholic and basically monarchy.
Now, I was struck that a former European commissioner went on television recently and sounded delighted that the Romanian government had just annulled an entire election. He warned that if things don't go
again, it is just meddling inside of European politics. All right, so now it's open season. Open season, so you are inside of my politics, so it's open for me to be inside of your political decision, political situation. All right.
to plan, the very same thing could happen in Germany too. Now, these cavalier statements are shocking to American ears.
No, they not. No, they very not. Because America got some values. There's some kind of stuff you cannot say, you cannot do. It's based on the American culture, based on the American law. Well, some are very difficult, but we are going to talk about them.
Years, we've been told that everything we fund and support is in the name of our shared democratic values. Everything from our Ukraine policy to digital censorship is billed as a defense of democracy.
Exactly, because there's a lot of stuff you cannot say, just like you cannot be anti-Jew, you cannot be, you cannot go and make threat against the country, you cannot like do stuff online against children, against women, you cannot be openly say a lot of stuff. They are against the society. You cannot open the door and then let everything fly. So now we all know he's lying.
But when we see European courts canceling elections and senior officials threatening to cancel others,
the same guy that said the US election was rigged, and then he never said that Trump lost the election. Now he's going to criticize other countries' election. The hypocrisy is so open, it's too much that it gave me, I just wanna I feel like vomit because it's just too much. Those same guy that said, oh, the the guy did not lose the election, and then he go in other country and then talk about people's election.
We ought to ask whether we're holding ourselves to an appropriately high standard. And I say ourselves because I fundamentally believe that we are on the same team. We must do more than talk about democracy.
All right, so there's a big difference between European and American. You need to know that. You need to know that. Okay, this is why a lot of European left Europe and then they come to America and then they made a different countries. You are the same. You have the same. It's a lot of values, a lot of common values, but you're not the same.
Values, we must live them. Now, within living memory of many of you,
yes, talking about democratic values, like you need to respect who lost or who win an election. He never acknowledged that the orange agent lost the election. What an hypocrite.
In this room, the Cold War positioned defenders of democracy against much more tyrannical forces on this continent. And consider the side in that fight that censored dissidents, that closed churches, that canceled elections. Were they the good guys? Certainly not. And thank God they lost the Cold War.
Okay, so now he's defending church, he's defending election, he's defending a lot of stuff. Take a pause. We're gonna move on, but we're gonna come back 2-3 years from for this administration. You're gonna hear something different.
They lost because they neither valued nor respected all of the extraordinary blessings of liberty. The freedom to.
Okay. Now it's talking about liberties. Let me go back a little bit.
That censored dissidents, that closed churches.
Okay, that censored dissidents. That means I and everybody else can talk as much as we want because this guy is defending dissident. All right, good.
That canceled elections. Were they the good guys? Certainly not.
All right.
And thank God they lost the Cold War. They lost because they neither valued nor respected all of the.
They do not value or respect all the good things from liberties. So that means this is a guy who is all up for liberties, right?
Extraordinary blessings of liberty. The freedom to surprise, to make mistakes, to invent.
The freedom to surprise and make mistakes. So probably he's talking about what is going on over here because a lot of people were surprised and a lot of people said this is a mistake. So he's talking about himself.
To build. As it turns out, you can't mandate innovation or creativity, just as you can't force people what to think, what to feel, or what to believe. And we believe those things.
All right. That's it. All right. So he said very clearly.
As it turns out, you can't mandate innovation or creativity.
You cannot mandate innovation and creativity. That's mean it's I'm gonna take his word for the long run. Okay, I'm gonna take his word for the long run. You cannot mandate that.
Just as you can't force people what to think, what to feel.
You cannot force people to what to think and what to feel. Oh, probably he's thinking about those LGBTQ people, because you cannot force people to what to think, what to feel. All right, let's go.
Or what to believe, and we believe those things are.
Okay, so or what to believe. That means this is freedom of religion. I can believe in whatever I want. I'm gonna show you the hypocrisy. I'm gonna show you the lies from this guy.
Certainly connected. And unfortunately, when I look at Europe today, it's sometimes not so clear what happened to some of the Cold War's winners. I look to Brussels, where EU commissars warn citizens that they intend to shut down social media during times of civil unrest.
That means so there will be no social media close or whatever. That means it's not gonna touch social media. Good.
The moment they spot what they've judged to be, quote, hateful content.
Okay, so that's mean you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want, whatever you want. That it's not gonna be no hate speech. They not gonna censor hate speech. Good.
Or to this very country, where police have carried out raids against citizens suspected of posting anti-feminist comments on
That's mean the police not are not gonna targeting people who post whatever.
line as part of, quote, combating misogyny on the internet.
Right. That's mean you can post whatever you want onto the internet. This is what JD Vance is saying right now.
I look to Sweden, where 2 weeks ago the government convicted a Christian activist for participating in Koran burnings that resulted in his friend's murder. And as the judge in his case chillingly noted, Sweden's laws to supposedly protect free expression do not, in fact, grant, and I'm quoting, a free pass to do or say anything without risking offending the group that holds that belief.
All right. That means he said you can do whatever you want. So if some people go to a church and then they're burning Bibles, so nobody should be upset because that was the case. A guy in Switzerland, he went and burned a Koran, and then those Islamic people they getting mad, and then one of his friend got killed, a lot of unrest, and then he said that's not good. You can do whatever you want, go to a church, a Catholic church, do whatever you want with the Bible. That's what he's saying right now.
And perhaps most concerningly, I look to our very dear friends, the United Kingdom, where the backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in particular in the crosshairs. A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran, with the heinous crime of standing 50 meters from an abortion clinic and silently praying for 3 minutes. Not obstructing anyone, not interacting with anyone, just silently praying on his own. After British law enforcement spotted him and demanded to know what he was praying for, Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before. Now, the officers were not moved. Adam was found guilty of breaking the government's new buffer zones law, which criminalizes silent prayer and other actions that could influence a person's decision within 200 meters of an abortion facility. He was sentenced to pay thousands of pounds in legal costs to the prosecution. Now, I wish I could say that this was...
And again, it just part of the story. It's not gonna give the whole situation. So it's just gonna cherry pick what is good for him to make his point.
The fluke, a one-off crazy example of a badly written law being enacted against a single person, but no.
All right, so he said, so no crazy laws, no crazy a presidential decree, no executive order. So this is what he's talking about.
This last October, just a few months ago, the Scottish government began distributing letters to citizens whose houses lay within so-called safe...
That's what I'm saying. This is an immature speech. He go around cherry pick every situation that does not go with his belief, and then he talk about them, and then just go over there and just give a lecture. And I think that's the American arrogance. They go to other countries and then tell them stuff. What about some people come here and then he's doing the same thing? People gonna be upset. So why do you think they're not gonna be upset when you're doing the same thing to them? So that's why a lot of people are getting upset with this guy. It's just like a kids that go to someone else. How is start making a lot of gesture, a lot of bad move, and then it's just making joke with adults. All those people, they know what they're doing. They just come over there and then he says this and then he said that.
Access zones, warning them that even private prayer within their own homes may amount to breaking the law. Naturally, the government urged readers to report any fellow citizen suspected guilty of thought crime. In Britain and across Europe, free speech, I fear, is in retreat. And in the interest of comedy, my friends, but also in the interest of truth, I will admit that sometimes the loudest voices for censorship have come not from within Europe, but from within my own country, where the prior administration threatened and bullied social media companies to censor so-called misinformation. Misinformation like, for example,
That's mean everybody gonna will be able to say whatever they want on the internet. So it's open season, it's open gate, so there will be no check and balance. That's things gonna go.
idea that coronavirus had likely leaked from a laboratory in China, our own government encouraged private companies to silence people who dared to utter what turned out to be an obvious truth. So I come here today not just with an observation, but with an offer. Just as the Biden administration seemed desperate to silence people for speaking their minds, so the Trump administration will do precisely.
All right, so people gonna will be able to speak their mind. Okay, so this guy Vance is saying, so we are free to speak our mind. You know what I'm saying? It did not say in which condition. It did not say what are the limits. It just said so people are free to speak their mind. Good. That's why that's the only thing I love with him.
The opposite, and I hope that we can work together on that. In Washington, there is a new sheriff in town.
We all know
and under
that.
Donald Trump's leadership, we may disagree.
Is that saying there's a new president, a new sheriff? That means those guys they have a different views of governing.
With your views, but we will fight to defend your right to offer it in the public square, agree or disagree. Now we're at the point, of course, that the situation has
now he's getting very upset because people are not clapping for him. Now he's getting upset. If you can hear his voice getting louder.
Gotten so bad that this December, Romania straight up canceled the results of a presidential election based on the flimsy suspicions of an intelligence agency and enormous pressure from its continental neighbors. Now, as I understand it, the argument was that Russian disinformation had infected the Romanian elections.
Yes.
But I'd ask my European friends to have some perspective.
Listen carefully.
You can believe it's wrong for Russia to buy social media advertisements to influence your elections. We certainly do. You can condemn it on the world stage even.
That's mean it's okay for Russia to buy ads to try to direct the election on Israel. That's mean Russia gonna send a guy into the election, and then Russia gonna buy ads for the people to vote for one particular guy. What kind of democracy is that? So if the people are being manipulated, there's no free election. There will be no free election. There will be a set up election. But you're gonna say something very important.
But if your democracy can be destroyed with a few $100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with.
All right. Okay. Now you got a good point. And this is what I'm trying to tell a lot of people, especially people in America. The American people, they very low in understanding what democracy is, what to choose, and what is fact and propaganda. It's not only in America, but it's around the world. This is my fight. People need to understand, people need to know what is good for them. Why you should listen to another guy from another country to tell you how to vote when his own people cannot vote. So the Democrat and people around the world, they need to do a better job They need to explain people exactly what democracy is, and also and all they're gonna make society work better, because it's gonna be always easy for people to have a boss over their head. If you do not teach people the right way, they're gonna swallow, they're gonna eat, they're gonna drink whatever people are telling them. And this is exactly what is going on around the world. It is in the human nature to have a guy over the head to tell them what's going on, because it's required a lot of effort to think for themselves. It's just like a guy that come over here. This is why people love the stars. Even though Rambo, Commando, they need a superhero to do stuff for them. They just gonna follow. A lot of people they just followers. That's why we have a lot of superstars in football, just like Messi. A lot of people they too lazy to play football, or they do not have the opportunity to go on the field to do what Messi is doing. So they take Messi and then they're gonna follow Messi. They do not have the same opportunities since Messi is doing what they wanted to do, so they follow Messi. But politics or democracy is not a football game. It's not a song. It's very different. It requires people to participate. If you have a lazy population, if you have an analphabet population, if you have a stupid population, you cannot have a democratic society, because people are gonna always follow the simple way. And that's exactly what is going on. And then he got a good point. If somebody can just put like a $1,000 on the ads, and then they're gonna control your democracy got a lot of problem. And it's gonna be those leaders to teach their people what is best for them, because people always gonna want to go the easy way, the way that somebody gonna tell them what to do, because people are lazy, because people are stupid. They just gonna need somebody to tell them, oh, let's go this way, let's do this, or let's do that. This is the biggest problem with democracy right now. And he got a good point. All those leaders, all those people that used to work on the Biden administration or in Canada or in France, they need to do better. They need to teach their people what democracy is. They said, oh, people know about democracy. No, people are stupid. They're gonna forget. They're gonna be lazy. Even though people are working very hard, they are lazy. They're just doing the same thing. They're not gonna innovate. They're not gonna do nothing. So this is why they need to make sure they have a lot of special program, a lot of events to keep people on the learning of democracy. Just like Valentine Day. If you miss one Valentine, you don't bring gift or chocolate or flowers for your wife or girlfriend, they're gonna be upset. They're gonna forget all the years that you bought them stuff. They're gonna be upset for this one thing. This is something from the human perspective, from the human psyche, just like the football. You need to keep having season. You need to keep having season. You need to keep having season. Just like the sun. The sun gonna come up, sun gonna come down. They need to keep people on this democracy learning, on this democracy processing. They need to remind them of that. They need to do that, because people are lazy. They're not gonna be able 2 or 3 days. They said, "Oh, let the government do that. The government do that. The government gonna do that. The government is not doing it." They said they're gonna start protesting, and then somebody else gonna say, "So the government is not good. The press is not good. Those people are not good." And then people said, oh, so this guy, they're not doing the job, and those guys are talking about something else. Let me try this guy. They just gonna try. And when they try, they're gonna end up with a guy that said, okay, so good. This thing that you call election, this thing you call democracy, I got the power, I grab the power, no more election, no more um peaceful transition, I keep the old thing. And that exactly that is going to happen in America. If the people does not wake up, this guy gonna keep everything. It's not because he's gonna do a better job, it's because the people were getting lazy. They're getting stupid. They're getting we just want somebody to take this thinking for us. We just want, just like the game, just like Messi. We just want somebody that making goal for us, just like LeBron James. We just want someone to be us playing basketball, and we're not gonna forget about that because we have our daily life. We have all stuff to do. Thinking about politics, like going to city council meeting, try to figure out which candidate is best for me, which plan, the zoning plan. I'm looking for some online to see the city meeting council. When you go to the city hall and then they have some those meeting, a city can have like 100,000 people, and then at the city council meeting, how many people you see? Like 20, 15, 10. People are not engaged. They don't know what is good for them because the leaders, they say, oh, the people got this. And then the people gonna say, oh, the leader got this. There is a disconnect. This is the disconnect. And this is this trap, this is this crack. This is where all those people gonna come and then say, all right, so this democracy thing, so we're gonna put a stop on it. We're taking the power, and then that's it. This is the plan right now. So this guy is making a good point. If you have a democracy that can be derailed by 100,000 ads, your democracy was very weak. And then the room was very full, was packed. Can you hear can you use the clapping? Like two people, probably two people in his team that was there. Nobody clapped for him, but he was making a freaking good point. He was right from hell and back. He was right. I don't like the guy. I will never agree with him, but this statement is damn right. 100%. I mean, the statement was so right. The people, it just like he slapped the people. It just stunned them with a very powerful truth. They need to do their homework. They need to do their homework. And this is what they they understood, and they used that. They used that because it's talking about if your democracy can be derailed with 100,000 ads, that means money. If money can make people vote one way or another way, that means you did not even have democracy because anybody can buy that. Or can you have something that is shared to you and then money gonna buy it? $250 million or $280 million. Elon Musk invested $200 million to buy an election, to buy the whole country, to buy the whole government. That means there was something very bad. There was something very bad. Those leaders, Democrat or Republican, or people in civil society, especially those immigrants, I was telling them, I wrote a whole book on that. You need to keep your people on the democracy learning. You need to make sure the people love democracy more than money. because a guy who can spend money, he's gonna come and buy the election. He's gonna come and buy people's vote, and you're gonna lose everything. But if you were teaching your people about democracy, they will love democracy more than money, more than interest. That's the only way democracy gonna survive, if you love democracy more than your life, more than money. And it's been proven that this is the weakest point of democracy. People can buy people. You can buy people's vote, you can buy people's ID, you can buy people's feeling, you can buy people's thought. That's what is going on in America, and that is going on in everywhere. You can put money, you can put ads, you can use people, you can tell people to vote one way or another way. That's the problem.
With a few $100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with. But if your democracy can be destroyed with a few $100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with. But if your democracy can be destroyed with a few $100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with. But if your democracy can be destroyed with a few $100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with. Democracy can be destroyed with a few $100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with. Democracy can be destroyed with a few $100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with. Jeevan.
Again, this is the most powerful statement. And I hope I'm not the only one that get this point. I got this point a long time ago, 2010. This is when I start writing my book, Democracy a Theory. Do I have a copy with me? Yeah, I do have a copy with me. Democracy, I wanted to teach people what is democracy. I wanted them to love democracy, just like the Bible. I used to walk with a Bible in one hand and my democracy in the other hand. I used to sleep on those two books. No money, no people can tell me anything for me to like say I don't want democracy, or I'm gonna make a choice that's gonna put democracy in danger. Well, people thought, well, we thought they got that, they understood that. I'll be speaking with a lot of Asian politicians, a lot of African American leaders, was telling them the same thing. The mayor of Newark, a lot of people, the late Congressman Payne, a lot of people in my entourage, they always tell them the same thing. Well, I hope one day I can be wrong. But until now, I am right. That's why I spent like 3 years collecting stuff to write this book. And then after that, I still writing the book. So some people say, oh, it's a good thing, but they do not see the idea. So right now, this is what this guy is saying. If you do not have a strong democracy, $100,000 ads can destroy it. You do not have a democracy at all. Your people should not be that dumb to go one way or another way because of $100,000 ad from another country, because your people were dumb. You did not teach them. They were weak. They were wicked mind. They were like very stupid. That's when Putin can just sit in Moscow and then he said, so we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. You have a bunch of dumb people. You send them to school, you do this, you do that, but damn, you lost not because of Putin, because you did not teach your people a lot of shit. I will never in the same page with this guy. But this is true. You need to understand that. And that is going on. This is what is going on. We need to acknowledge that.
But if your democracy can be destroyed with a few,
if your democracy can be destroyed, that means if somebody can destroy your democracy with that little bit of money, that $100,000. Can you imagine $100,000 and then you buy an election? This is sad. This is really sad. Anyway,
$100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it
from a foreign country, a country that got its own interests. Can you imagine with $100,000 you can destroy a country or destroy the institution of a country like with 15, 20 million people? This is sad. This is a punchline, but this punchline is very powerful. This punchline is very powerful that 3 people into the room clap for him. But it was the biggest slap ever.
you can condemn it on the world stage even. But if your democracy can be destroyed with a few $100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with. Now, the good news is that I happen to think your democracies are substantially less brittle than many people apparently fear. And I really do believe that allowing our citizens to speak their mind will make them strong.
Okay, so now he said it once, he said it twice. That means this is what he's doing. He got a lot of goons. Putin put a lot of people in different countries around the world and around Europe, especially since he is in Europe. A lot of people that are very upset for the personal reason. They are upset for the people that are in power because they want to replace them. A lot of people that are upset for the policies from those countries. A lot of people are upset from immigrants. A lot of people are upset for whatever reason. And Putin gonna capitalize on that. And what this goon is doing right now is trying to liberate those people to say whatever they want. And then when those people are talking, especially people in Germany, those white Nazi guys, they're gonna keep talking. They're gonna have a say into the political arena, and then they're gonna break chaos, and then you're gonna see a lot of right wing people coming up to power, just like this gun must said with those Nazi people. They don't care about who's gonna come in power. They just want the people that gonna give them the power. Just like Trump, he used to be a Democrat. Since you see with his views, with his racism, he cannot make it to the Democratic Party. He switched to the Republican Party. He ain't got no values from Democrat or Republican. He doesn't care. What he want is just to be in power, to do his shit. Just like these guy events, just like Musk. They just want another people that gonna kiss their ass. And then they're gonna go to this country and do whatever they want. That's exactly what is going on in Afghanistan. This crazy give Afghanistan to those Taliban because they don't want a strong democracy. The guy go in Europe, and that's exactly what they want to do in Haiti. You're gonna see they put somebody else in Haiti. A guy that gonna say, "Oh, this guy helped me get there. I'm gonna listen to him." That's all they want. They just want a piece of the pie. They just want a piece of the pie. That's what gonna be all around the world. Thank, thanks to Jimmy Carter, a lot of people were saved from dictatorship, from prison, from murder, from for a lot of things. Those guys think they're gonna do the same thing around the world. And then he want to lecture Europeans. He forgot those Europeans are, I'm not gonna say better, but he should show some respect to those Europeans. And again, I hope those people are gonna say, oh, good. Just like Haiti. Haiti used to rely on the USA. Just like Canada, they used to rely on this country. I hope they're gonna wake up and say and do it just like China and Russia. Stand up for yourself and don't listen to those. Even though a Democrat come back to power, don't listen to those guys. Do your stuff your way. Don't listen to those crazies. That's the only good thing I hope that gonna come from this situation. Do things your way. Do not rely on people. And and it's gonna be really bad. If you do not have alliance, because in the beginning of the story, people never had those strong alliance. They was not member of NATO. They did not band together for a common cause. That's why a lot of people were fighting back into the 13th centuries, 15th centuries. There was a lot of fighting. King taking over other king countries. They were fighting for land. They were fighting for women. They were fighting for resources. They were fighting for whatever reason. And this is when you got World War One and World War Two. Give me a second. And then they said, so let's do the Society of Nations, SDN. And then World War One broke out. World War Two broke out. After World War Two, they said, let us do United Nations. Let us unite ourselves around a common cause like freedom, peace, democracy, the rule of law. It's because you have multilateralism. But if this guy said, okay, do your stuff your way, do your stuff your way, sooner or later, country gonna take over country, and then people gonna sit down and then they're gonna look. They're gonna say, oh, it took over this country. It's not my problem. And then this country is near you. You say, oh, so this guy take over this guy, let me take over this guy. And then you're gonna come back into the dark ages. Those immature, those childish, crazy guy, they just want an election and then they think they know shit. You don't know shit about what's going on. You just got born from the last rain, just like they say in my country. You don't know what is going on since you were born in America, and then you think you crap, you and shit. You don't know nothing about the story of humanity, the civilization or Europe came up. And then this is those two stooges, Trump, Vance, and Musk. And then the fourth one, exec, that goes around and talk shit to you. A continent with kings, queen, civilization, and then he talk about its democracy. It's not into the beautiful building. All those beautiful buildings you got in America, you just fucking copy them from Europe. All the shit you got, the laws, democracy, you got them from Europe. How those Europeans got so upset to stand on their own feet? And I hope Asian people gonna be so upset to stand on their feet and stop relying on those crazies because it's so freaking upset. So when you're dealing with some freaking immature, just like those freaking kids, 17, 19, they think they know shit. You ain't got, you know shit. You're just born, you don't even know how to fucking change your diapers. You were just like 1 year one, shirtless and with no with no underwear. And then you came up and you think you can do. You don't know crap. Just like Kendrick Lamar said, sit down, be humble. Kendrick Lamar. Why can't they did not play this song? This song, sit down, be humble. They're not humble. They think they should. Anyway, so this is a very dark period, and those crazies they might bring us back to the dark ages. On va parler de Moyen-Orient, de Moyen Âge, back into like those medieval times. Those crazies, they're gonna bring us to medieval times where people were killing people with senseless act. Damn, this is crazy.
Still, which of course brings us back to Munich, where the organizers of this very conference have banned lawmakers representing populist parties on both the left and the right from participating in these conversations. Now, again, we don't have to agree with everything or anything that people say. But when people represent, when political leaders represent an important constituency, it is incumbent upon us to at least participate in dialogue.
What is also saying is saying like people in America, they're not raising the voice, they're not speaking enough. After he won this election, people are not saying, people are not talking, people are not saying nothing at all. People saying, oh, everything is great, everything is perfect, we all good over here, we are doing our thing, nothing to see, everything is perfect. This is what he's saying. So he's saying so people should speak up. He's saying people should like say what is in the mind. This is what he's saying.
Now, to many of us on the other side of the Atlantic, it looks more and more like old entrenched interests hiding behind ugly Soviet era words like misinformation and disinformation, who simply don't like the idea that somebody with an alternative viewpoint might express a different opinion or, God forbid, vote a different way, or even worse, win an election.
Now, again, it's talking about Europeans that are not happy. It's need to be clear for everybody. A lot of people from Europe, they're not happy with the result of the American election. They're so not happy. Okay, they're not happy with the result. They just let those guys in, but they're not happy. This is not what they were expecting.
Now, this is a security conference, and I'm sure you all came here prepared to talk about how exactly you intend to increase defense.
Exactly. You are out of your line. You are out of the subject. You should talk about security and not talking about people's shit. Because if they were talking about your shit, there will be a lot of things to say.
Spending over the next few years in line with some new target. And that's great, because as President Trump has made abundantly clear, he believes that our European friends must play a bigger role in the future of this continent. We don't think, you hear this term, burden sharing, but we think it's an important part of being in a shared alliance together that the Europeans step up while America focuses on areas of the world that are in great danger. But let me also ask you, how will you even begin to think through the kinds of budgeting questions if we don't know what it is that we are defending in the first place? I've heard a lot already in my
Okay, so now is being very disrespectful because it's trying to tell the European they don't know so what they're fighting for, they don't know what they're doing. That's that's not very nice. That's not very nice to tell all those guys so they don't know what they're fighting for. Are they fighting for democracy? Are they fighting for something else? And that's not that's not good. Or probably he's saying so is democracy still a thing? Probably this is what he's trying to tell them.
conversations, and I've had many, many great conversations with many people gathered here in this room. I've heard a lot about what you need to defend yourselves from, and of course, that's important. But what has seemed a little bit less clear to me, and certainly I think to many of the citizens of Europe, is what exactly it is that you're defending yourselves for. What is the positive vision that animates this shared security compact that we all believe is so important? And I believe deeply that there is no security if you are afraid of the voices, the opinions, and the conscience that guide your very own people. Europe faces many challenges, but the crisis this continent faces right now, the crisis I believe we all face together, is one of our own making.
That's mean is blaming themselves. That's mean Russia, China are not the problem. Is blaming those guys. Just like you go to somebody else house and then you say, oh, your house is very messy, so that's your problem. Or you have this problem, so you should do this, you should do that. You're not good. You're not doing a good thing. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. If somebody did that to you, you know, or you will feel. And again, this is very immature. This is not what you say, it's all you're saying it.
If you're running in fear of your own voters, there is nothing America can do for you.
Okay, so you're warning of fear of your own voters. Those guys were elected, right? So there is a majority of people that vote for them. Of course, there will be some kind of people, a bunch of people that did not vote for those guys. So what you're trying to say? You already know the result of the next election. So you already what are we talking? It just go there and then it's talking on behalf of those people.
Nor, for that matter, is there anything that you can do for the American people who elected me and elected President Trump. You need democratic mandates to accomplish anything of value in the coming years. That we learn nothing that thin mandates produce unstable results. But there is so much of value that can be accomplished with the kind of democratic mandate that I think will come from being more responsive to the voices of your citizens. If you're going to enjoy competitive economies, if you're going to enjoy affordable energy.
Well, there is a point that is very needed over here. He said you cannot accomplish anything with a 10 margin of election winning. So what he's trying to say. So he's trying to say that they win with a big numbers. Of course, they win like basically all the thing, but with a very 10 numbers, you have a very 10 percentage. So it's not like they win with like 80 or 70 or 90% of the vote.
And secure supply chains. Then you need mandates to govern, because you have to make difficult choices to enjoy all of these things. And of course, we know that
very be careful.
Very well in America. You cannot win a democratic mandate by censoring your opponents or putting them in jail.
Good. So that means he's not gonna censor his opponent in America or put people in jail. Okay, good. So if you're talking politics, so they cannot censor you or they cannot put you in jail. Are we clear or just another lies? because we know those guys, or they just lying their ass off all day and every day.
Whether that's the leader of the opposition, a humble Christian praying in her own home, or a journalist trying to report the news. Nor can you win one by disregarding your basic electorate on questions like who gets to be a part of our shared society. And of all the pressing challenges that the nations represented here face, I believe there is nothing more urgent than mass migration.
Okay, now he's talking about his favorite subject, mass migration. And he's talking about African people, he's talking about Caribbean people, he's talking about Asian, he's talking about Latinos, and some European also. This is his favorite subject. This guy is going around the world now, blaming everything on immigrants. This is his policy. He hates immigrants. And unfortunately, his wife is an immigrant. But they forgot about this part. That means they want their own immigrants. You know what I'm saying? Probably they love immigrants that they can bang on, just like those slave masters. The slave masters, they always have their wife, but they always bang on those slaves. This guy who is president now is banging on an immigrant from Europe. This guy who's a vice president is banging on an immigrant from India. They don't have a realistic problem, an absolute problem with immigrants, but they want their own. They want the thing they can bang on. That's the lie. They fake, and this is disgusting.
Today, almost 1 in 5 people living in this country moved here from abroad. That is, of course, an all-time high. It's a similar number, by the way, in the United States, also an all-time high. The number of immigrants who entered the EU from non-EU countries doubled between 2021 and 2022 alone, and of course, it's gotten much higher since. And we know the situation, it didn't materialize in a vacuum. It's a result of a series of conscious decisions made by politicians all over the continent and others across the world over a decade. We saw the horrors wrought by these decisions yesterday in this very city. And of course, I can't bring it up again without thinking about the terrible victims who had a beautiful winter day in Munich ruined. Our thoughts and prayers are with them and will remain with them. But why did this happen in the first place? It's a terrible story, but it's one we've heard way too many.
Again, now he's talking about immigrants, and then he switched to a situation that just happened. I don't know exactly the reason or the context, but he's taking his message. Probably this is something they're gonna do. They're gonna plan some trick, and with this national security, this new national security lady, these new people that are coming up, there gonna be a lot of plot. There gonna be a lot of quintel. There gonna be a lot of trap. There gonna be a lot of stuff to upset people so they can vote, so they can do certain things. People need to understand that, because those people, they're gonna do everything just to make a lot of people do their bidding. They probably gonna use a lot of people. And with technology, with this guy Elon Musk and those agencies, they're gonna attack people from their phone. Some people, they're gonna hack their phone, they're gonna use the phone of the people, send texts, do this, do that, and then they're gonna blame this on those people. There are gonna be a lot of activists, a lot of political dissident that gonna find themselves into a lot of shit without them knowing or doing anything, because they're gonna be targeting by Elon Musk, by this administration, and this guy Kash Patel is gonna do a lot of damage into the society. A lot of innocent people gonna go down. There's gonna be a lot of plot, a lot of trap. They're gonna plant a lot of narcotic. They're gonna plant a lot of things. They're gonna use people's car with those electric cars. They're gonna be so crazy. I'm telling you.
Times in Europe, and unfortunately too many times in the United States as well. An asylum seeker, often a young man in his mid-20s, already known to police, rams a car into a crowd and shatters a community. How many times must we suffer these appalling setbacks before we change course and take our shared civilization in a new direction?
Or share civilization to a new direction. That means they're gonna ban people from coming their country. They're gonna change the direction of the civilization. So they said we don't, if you from a Africa or Latin America or into the Caribbean, this is their policy. That's the policy. This is the policy. Because into the my sense, when they go to other countries, they go to steal, they go to do bad things. They take when people come to their country, they come in and do bad things. It's just in the human nature for a reason or not, voluntarily or involuntarily, something may happen. I'm not saying this guy is not guilty, but take every single people and you put them into the same category is wrong. And I have no problem with that because I want a Saraseta policy. They don't come to my country and I don't come to their country. We stay always. Do not attack me. I'm not gonna attack you. We do not have relationship, point blank period. If this is what they want, good. I want the same thing with them because I don't want to be here. God did not choose me to be here. But if you're gonna be in my country, then I'm gonna be in your country. But if we gonna sign something, so you stay over there, I stay over there, go there. Don't send your Christian people, don't send your missionaries, don't send your crazies. We were relaxing in Africa. We were having our own shit. You know what I'm saying? We were having our own our stuff. We were doing our stuff always. We were in Africa living with our own thing. And then those beach, they came down to Africa. They said, so we need this, we need that. And then the old shit pop up. We did not go to them. Did we go to those crazies? No. They come around and then they say shit. We did not even want to come. We did not even want to come here. And then those bitches are blaming us, or you do this, you that. Nope, you started the old shit.
No voter on this continent went to the ballot box to open the floodgates to millions of unvetted immigrants. But you know what they did vote for? In England, they voted for Brexit, and agree or disagree, they voted for it. And more all over Europe, they're voting for political leaders who promise to put an end to out-of-control migration. Now, I happen to agree with a lot of these concerns, but you don't have to agree with me. I just think that people care about their homes, they care about their dreams, they care about their safety.
Yes, they care. A lot of people are caring about their lands, they care about their where F, they worry about their gold. From the beginning, it was the gold because they wanted the gold in Haiti. They worry about their people. Again, those beaches, they went to Africa. You know what I'm saying? They went to Africa because we were worried about our own shit too, because we had our own shit. And again, nobody from Africa went over there. You bitches went there.
And their capacity to provide for themselves and their children.
We got a lot of shit. In Africa, we got a lot of shit. We got too many shit, by the way.
and they're smart. I think this is one of the most important things I've learned in my brief time in politics.
Oh yes, brief time. You're very immature. You're very childish. You just say junior, whatever, and then you think you can go around and lecture people. You think you can go around. You think like the civilization. You think life came from America or Europe. No, the old shit started in Africa. This stupid don't know shit he's talking about. They took a lot of shit from Africa. They took a lot of people, and then they think they want the thing. No, you're not.
Contrary to what you might hear a couple mountains over in Davos, the citizens of all of our nations don't generally think of themselves as educated animals or as interchangeable cogs of a global economy. And it's hardly surprising that they don't want to be shuffled about or relentlessly ignored by their leaders. It is the business of democracy to adjudicate these big questions at the ballot box. I believe that dismissing people, dismissing their concerns, or worse yet, shutting down media, shutting down elections, or shutting people out of the political process protects nothing. In fact, it is the most surefire way to destroy democracy. And speaking up and expressing opinions isn't election interference. Even when people express views outside your own country, and even when those people are very influential. And trust me, I say this with all humor, if American democracy can survive 10 years of Greta Thunberg scolding, you guys can survive a few months of Elon Musk. But what German democracy...
You see, no clapping. This point was intended to be a joke, but nobody clapping because like just like Elon Musk said, talk. He, he participated in a live meeting about with those Nazis, crazy skinhead, and then he just making a point for. I just believe that Putin wrote this speech for this guy. I see a lot of Putin explanation. When Trump talk with Putin, I believe they took some note, and then to make Putin happy, they include a lot of Putin idea into this speech. 100, I can bet a lot of money on that. Believe it or not, Putin would some part of this speech, or probably they send it to Putin, or I can see Putin into this speech. Very, very, very clear, my friend. Very, very clear. All right. Okay. So
what no democracy, American, German, or European, will survive is telling millions of voters that their thoughts and concerns, their aspirations, their pleas for relief are invalid or unworthy of even being considered.
But they're not the majority, my friend. They're not the majority. You're just playing politics. They're not the majority. And if Europe does not stand up, I cannot believe a lot of. Anyway, so this is the problem. They need to put this guy back into his place. They need to do that. And I think a lot of people, especially those Canadian people, they Macron called those Asian a con. I think those Canadian they need to wake up. They need to wake up and to stand for themselves. The guy said, "Oh, you ain't got no army. You can protect yourself. So you need to build your own army." And by the way, Haiti is the only country that always stand up. That's why they broke the country. That's why they do that. Yep, yep. Haiti. One of these days, all those countries gonna go to Haiti. They're gonna say, Haiti, you knew that all along.
Democracy rests on the sacred principle that the voice of the people matters.
What people? What percentage of the people? Son of a bitch. What percentage of the people? It's not only the people you represent, it's all the people. That means this guy, when he's talking about people, for himself is people that agree with him. It's only the people that agree with him. All everybody else, they're not people. They just like something I don't know. And a lot of people need to understand that when those things are talking, they're not talking for everybody. They're talking for their the people that agree with them, and we need to take them at the same level.
There's no room for firewalls. You either uphold the principle or you don't.
Good. You either apply the principle or you don't. And people should save this speech. Not only people in Europe, but people in America. That's why I'm making this live on this speech. This is a speech that I'm going to save and to a lot and sometime go back to this speech because you need to hold people from what they say, just like we all those truth to be self-evident.
Europeans, the people, have a voice. European leaders have a choice. And my strong belief is that we do not need to be afraid of the future. You can embrace what your people tell you, even when it's surprising.
Yes, it's surprise to hear those Nazi. It's surprise to hear a lot of people don't wanna see black people. It's very surprising because you know what you did. It's very surprising you even speaking at this meeting. It's very surprising. There's a lot of surprise. So my friend, stop being surprised. The surprise time pass. All right. So this guy is a KKK. Point blank period. They need to do some investigation, and that's the problem on those Democrats. They don't know with who they sitting, they eating with. They knew there was a lot of KKK back then. They did not care. Those people from the Democratic um a party, they did not care. They said let them do the bidding. That is very sad, please. Very sad.
Even when you don't agree. And if you
Exactly, just like when you don't agree with Al Sharpton, by example, like with a lot of people. So
do so, you can face the future with certainty and with confidence, knowing that the nation stands behind each of you. And that, to me, is the great magic of democracy. It's not in these stone buildings or beautiful.
okay, so now he's talking bad about the story of Europe. It's that in those building, the stone wall. So when you go there, you see there was a lot of the civilization, the modern civilization, because in Africa, that's another subject. So a lot of stuff. So he's stunned when he go to Europe. He thought America got everything. No, you copy those things from Europe, my friend. You just copy a lot of things from Europe, and that's why you need to respect those people, respect the place, because you just copy from them. You just copy from Europe, man. You copy from the people. You copy from the institution. You copy a lot of things.
Hotels. It's not even in the great institutions that we have built to.
See, now that's why is dismantling all those institutions. Those institutions don't even matter for this guy. That's why you're gonna do whatever you want. Right? You wanna listen to the people. What kind of people? The people that beating the police, the people that go to the Capitol, the people they doing thing, the people with white robe, the KKK, those crazy people, the skinhead, those. He's talking for one group of people, very immature, very childish, very stupid. What people?
together as a shared society. To believe in democracy is to understand that each of our citizens has wisdom and has a voice.
No, that's right. Each citizen for you, each citizen is just those white people, not those black people, not those Latinos. This guy need to give the definition of what is people for him.
And if we refuse to listen to that voice, even our most successful fights will secure very little. As Pope John Paul II, in my view, one of the most extraordinary champions of democracy.
Again, like Pope John Paul did, just like so, where he's just like this, said this bitch, like just said my name. A guy who went to Haiti, and then he kissed the field. Pope Jean Paul de Lela Haiti, the Botea. Telling you, man. Telling you, this guy is just disgusting.
On this continent or any other once said, do not be afraid. We shouldn't be afraid of our people even when they express views that disagree with their leadership. Thank you all. Good luck to all of you. God bless aid. We shouldn't be afraid of.
Good. Now is done talking to me. He said, do not be afraid when you go to the street. Do not be afraid when you make your voice heard. Do not be afraid. That's what he's saying. This is what he just said to me. The guy just spoke very loud to me, so I have to acknowledge him. He spoke very loud to me. He said, don't be afraid. Whatever you want, don't be afraid. All right, thank you.
People, GD. Even when they express views that disagree with their leader.
Exactly. So the guy just spoke, man. Said he spoke a lot.
Thank you all. Good luck to all of you. God bless you.
All right, so that's the old Vency, you know. That's the old Vency, and then there's this exec. I don't know. Anyway, so yes, this is where we are. All right, so this is where we are with in this 2025. So one of the things that I believe, so I always believe, this is why I wrote the book Democracy at the and then I never translate this book, because from very far I knew something like that will pop up. I know something like that will pop up with those crazies, you know what I'm saying? A lot of thing, a lot of anyway. So this guy said a lot of stuff. One of the most powerful phrases: if your democracy can be destroyed with a $100,000 ad from a foreign country, that's when your democracy was that strong from the beginning. And it's right. When it's right, we need to say, hey, he made a good point. He did made a good point. He did made a very, very good point. So that's when there's a lot of stuff that we need to work with. A lot of stuff we need to understand, so what is going on. So anyway, so that was my analysis on this situation. That was my analysis for this speech. But people are mad, people are not happy, you know, people and a lot of people answer, a lot of people give him and talk. Vladimir Zelensky said the time for us to count on America to protect us is over. And then you have Scholz, they really disagree. They just don't wanna kick the guy out, but I believe they said so you don't have you can stay, you don't have to go, but you can stay, because they were not happy with the guy. They not happy at all. People in up they not happy at all. Again, so a lot of people, especially people who could not understand so what is about to happen. A lot of us are telling you, hey, we told you so. So you're gonna have to live with it for the next 4 years. There gonna be a lot of craziness, a lot of stupid thing. Well, again, if everything could work like very perfectly, we will believe, oh, this is the greatest country, greatest people in the world. No, they not. No, it's just a lie. And it still have its chance, because I always believe in my country. But we have a crazy people in it, they fucked up, they very crazy. But for the people that give a face of greatness, we see no, not so fast. They just lucky to keep this thing going, and I hope they keep this thing going, because since they keep this thing going, we still have a chance to fix other things, because if everything around the world are going crazy, so that's gonna be a problem. And also that's the point. So Exeg himself, he went down there, and then he basically said a lot of crazy stuff, but we have to live with this situation for quite some time, for quite some time, and then we can see they try to sell Ukraine. I hope something gonna change. I really hope. I really hope so. With all this craziness, so some miracle gonna happen. But until then, so thank you. That was my analysis on the speech from this guy JD Vance. A lot of people are upset about it, but it's a blueprint. He said a lot of things that we need to save this speech, because he said he talked a lot about democracy, a lot about democracy. So since we are very concerned and we are very active on the democracy process around the world, so we said so. Hey, we need to say something about it. So even though it was an immature and childish speech, people were very upset. People were not clapping. People were telling, people were looking at the exit. They said, "My friend, this is the exit. You need to wrap up." So we're not happy with you. A lot of people. I don't know anybody that agree with him, except this guy. Even people in his own team was not happy with what he said. So American politics is in the toilet. Is in the toilet into the Middle East. You know, now right now, American politics are retrieving. There is no greatness. Where's the greatness when you're gonna call Putin and then you said, so this is what you're gonna do? Everybody see that Putin is pulling the string right now. And the president of Ukraine, a lot of people from Europe, they said, you cannot do that. You cannot come and not putting both of them on the table and try to make the peace and try to work things out. Don't sell the country. It's just like a sell out. You're gonna look like a sellout. You're gonna look like a guy who's stealing and doing someone else bidding. You need to make Putin sitting on the side of the table, make Zelensky sit on the side of the table, and speak to them both. Speak to them as you should, not as the person, but as a guy who's sitting at a chair, like a guy who's making something great. Because if you're doing something and your ally and your people are saying so, what you're doing is not good at all. What you're doing is just craziness. So you just gonna help the other guy on the other team. That's the point. So right now, there is no greatness. I don't see the greatness at all. I just see someone who just like saying yes sir, please. We're gonna do whatever you want. Everybody see he's attacking his ally and then he's kissing his enemy's ass. That's exactly what he's doing. And Putin knows that. Putin knows that damn well. Putin is laughing his ass off. Putin is laughing his ass off. Putin's, and I don't know, for the people in Africa who thought Putin were with them, and then they're gonna a lot of things are changing. All those people from Europe that agree with America to make America, a lot of people do not understand, especially the stupid over here. They do not understand what make America great. It's because he got a lot of allies. People cannot do anything because when you got a lot of friends, when you got a lot of allies, if you are attacking your allies and your allies is keeping their distance from you, you're not gonna be great. You're gonna be weak, stupid. You're gonna stand alone. Probably they're gonna still be there, but they're not gonna be with you. I don't know. So anyway, so this is what they vote for. This is what they got. Well, it's a shame, and I don't take my word for it. Take other people's word for it, and I hope so. People just wake up, and just like Jade even said, so you have the right to disagree. You have the right to protest. You have the right to disagree. So I hope the American people gonna understand that. So, but abroad, around the world, in Haiti, people are not happy. Into the Latin America, people are not happy. In Canada, in Mexico, into the Middle East, all the country in the Middle East, they don't want 2 million people to leave their home. This is stealing. You just steal people home. At least Putin just he do not like Zelensky because a guy is on what was the name of this guy again? He put somebody else into power in Ukraine, and then people revolt and they they kicked this guy out, and then this guy went to Russia, and then they elected Zelensky. Putin want the Ukrainian people to stay there because for him they are Russian. But this guy, he just wanted to take the land, stealing the land. Do we have any shame of stealing people's stuff? It's just like you are going and stealing people's and stealing from a kid's cookie jar. That's what you're doing. They ain't got no shame. That's very sad. Anyway, so well, what exactly do I want? Well, the first thing I want my peace, the peace, my peace of mind, and I want for my country to be great because I believe Haiti can be great, and Haiti will be great because we ain't got no racism. We free a lot of people. We want other people to prosper, which is very different from this country. They do not want any other people to prosper. They just want to maintain people at a level and then they want to be number one. And they choose the one guy to do the job.